It just hurts, and I still can't believe he's gone.
8 years later, they say they still wait for justice.
Wake up, I don't see him. I come back from work, I don't see him. It's hard to live like that. I don't know how we stand up every day and keep living.
As kids, most of us will have used a branch as a toy gun, and others will have had all the toy guns they needed. But in a world where kids are becoming more deadly, it's hard to distinguish between a child playing or a criminal with murderous intent. Today, we look at two cases, both involving young men, one with a toy gun and one with a real one. Both of these cases are tragic and highlight the need for more close community policing and an attitude change toward deadly firearms as we look at the cop caught on BodyCam shooting a teen who had a toy gun. Over the last several years, fatal police shootings have been on an alarming rise in the United States. It was reported that during the entire year of 2022, there were only 15 days when an officer didn't shoot someone dead, bringing the number of fatal police shootings to over 1,000. This is the highest figure in history, with officers killing around 90 people every month. One of the more disturbing factors is that a high number of those killed are African Americans. A report published by Statista Research Department said that between 2015 and May 2023, the rate of fatal police shootings among Black Americans was at 5.8 per million of the population, followed by Hispanics, which was at 2.5, and white Americans at 2.3. While some of those killed were found to be carrying a weapon and posed an obvious threat to the officers, others were just innocent civilians who were just going about their day. Some of these cases often made national headlines.
An investigation is underway after an 11-year-old Mississippi boy was shot by a police officer during a domestic disturbance call last weekend.
In this case, police arrived at the Murray household, guns drawn, after receiving a call about a disturbance. Nakala Murray had asked her son, Adrian Murray, to call 911 after the father of one of her children turned up to her house and became violent. As Adrian heard the officer on the scene asking them to come outside, he found himself face to face with a bullet. His mother feared the worst.
He started singing gospel. He started praying. We started praying. We're very religious.
Did you think your son was going to die?
At that moment, I didn't know.
Adrian was lucky to survive, but the whole community felt the shockwaves of such a brutal shooting of an innocent boy.
He went out of his room and went towards the living room. As soon as he got in the living room, he got shot by that same officer that told him to come out.
The officer, Greg Capers, was placed on administrative leave, causing outrage in the community, who demanded he be sacked and charged. The case is still ongoing, but it just shows how reckless and trigger-happy some of these officers are. They don't even take time to confirm if the person they're shooting poses a threat to their lives or not. And if someone happens to be holding what appears to be a gun, they don't even think twice before shooting him down, no matter how young that person is. And in some cases, the gun is not even real.
Toy guns can be real killers.
There has been an ongoing discussion over the past years, with lawmakers asking parents not to buy their children toy guns that look too real.
When police confront someone carrying one of these imitation or look-alike firearms, they have to assume it's real.
Toy guns are federally regulated. They must include a bright-colored plug inserted in the barrel. The problem, as Blumenthal showed, is those plugs can be easily removed or painted over.
Unfortunately, this is exactly what happened in one of the most tragic shootings in America, Andy Lopez. Andy Lopez was a 13-year-old boy who was killed by a Sonoma County Sheriff's deputy in 2013. He was a student at Cook Middle School in Santa Rosa and was raised in the Moreland Avenue neighborhood in southwest Santa Rosa. He was a popular child who had just relocated to Cook Middle School and was just settling into his new school routine when tragedy struck. On October 22, 2013, Andy Lopez was carrying a toy gun that resembled an assault rifle when he was gunned down by an officer. The deputy who fired the fatal shot was Eric Gelhaus, a 24-year veteran of the police service. He had served in the Iraq War and was a firearms instructor and a contributing writer to several gun magazines. In over 2 decades, Deputy Gelhaus had never shot a single suspect until that day. So how did this experienced firearms officer mistake a toy gun for the real thing?
The deputy said he couldn't tell the difference, and when he faced no consequences, the decision roiled the community and in time triggered reforms.
He was not a grown adult. He wasn't pointing no gun at nobody.
This This case raises lots of questions. Gelhaus and another deputy, Michael Schemmel, were both on patrol around Moreland Avenue when they spotted a young man carrying what they identified as an AK-47. The two officers approached the suspect and called in a code 20, which is a call for assistance. Gelhaus exited the vehicle and demanded that the suspect drop the weapon. What happened in the next few moments would change the lives of everyone involved forever. Instead of dropping the weapon to the ground, he is reported to have pointed the gun toward the officers, causing Deputy Gelhaus to open fire. A passerby caught the incident on camera, which was later posted to YouTube.
In it, a Sheriff's Department cruiser can be seen parked along Moreland Avenue. As the car crosses over Moreland, the driver points the camera out the passenger side window, where two sheriff's deputies, Eric Gelhaus on the passenger side and Michael Schemmel on the driver's side, can be seen crouching behind the doors of their cruiser.
Andy Lopez was pronounced dead on the scene by first responders, bringing a tragic end to this young man's life.
As the video continues, Andy Lopez's body, which we have chosen to blur out, can be seen lying on the sidewalk a short distance away.
Later, it was discovered that the gun Lopez was carrying was in fact an air rifle. These kinds of weapons were required to have an orange tip on the barrel, but the orange tip on this fake gun had been broken off, meaning it was hard to distinguish the firearm from a real one, leaving the two attending deputies believing it was real.
Perhaps if it was an individual who knew the neighborhood a little bit better and knew Andy and knew his friends and knew who had typically walked the streets and played in the parks, that maybe there would have been a different response.
The case was handed over to the FBI, who would try to get to the bottom of this tragic shooting. During the autopsy, it was discovered that Lopez was high on narcotics and had been smoking it only an hour before the shooting.
According to the Sonoma County District Attorney's Office, Andy Lopez had last smoked marijuana within 60 to 75 minutes prior to his death and was likely feeling the effects of that at the time of his encounter with the sheriff's deputies.
This leaves questions on just how the 13-year-old's judgment was affected at the time of the shooting.
Andy's use of marijuana may have been a factor impacting Andy's behavior at the time of the incident.
The official autopsy stated that impaired judgment, slowed decision-making, and increased mental processing time, particularly when having to deal with performance of sudden, unanticipated tasks, including decisions that needed to be quickly responded to. The autopsy also revealed that the first bullets hit Lopez from behind. It is believed that young Lopez would not have seen the patrol car or known the police were behind him at the time bullets were fired. There were demands for the arrest of Deputy Gelhaus, something the district attorney refused due to lack of evidence that he violated Lopez's civil rights. Investigators said Gelhaus feared for the safety of himself and his partner and had to make an immediate decision to shoot when Lopez turned around. Therefore, Gelhaus was cleared to return to work, but he was assigned to desk duty. However, in August 2014, Deputy Gelhaus returned to patrol duty. The public was outraged.
In the memory of Andy, we will heal when the police protect and care, when they know us and show love for us.
There were widespread protests, and people were calling this a case of police brutality, and Lopez, a Latino, had been racially profiled by the officers.
I feel sad. And I'm very worried for all the people right here, the community.
The parents and siblings of Andy Lopez brought flowers and memories to the Santa Rosa Park dedicated to him.
On October 25, 2013, hundreds of people consisting mostly of middle school and high school students protested at the Santa Rosa City Hall.
Following the shooting, there were protest marches demanding justice. A small memorial went up at the scene of the shooting.
I have so many memories. It just hurts, and I still can't believe he's gone. I have sisters, and I mean, we've all played with the BB guns and all of that, and I mean, it could have been my sisters.
On the day Gelhaus returned to duty, more protests were held.
Some 75 demonstrators gathered outside the Sonoma County District Attorney's Office Tuesday to protest the DA's decision not to file criminal charges against Deputy Eric Gelhaus.
Later, a public memorial was set up for Andy Lopez near the site of his death.
Aztec dancers perform a blessing ceremony at a new county park named after 13-year-old Andy Lopez. Construction worker Cliff Nakamura helped build Andy's Unity Park. He hopes this 4-acre site will indeed unite.
From now, as you reflect on this park and you look and you drive by, it'll start to heal and mend what has happened in the past.
In March 2016, the Sonoma County Board of Supervisors gave over $1 million of funding towards the park, giving the people of Sonoma a place to grieve. The Sonoma police have still to recover the loss of trust, not only in the shooting, but from the aftermath as well. This case would reignite the call for stricter laws on toy guns, but for now, the family of Andy Lopez will continue to mourn their loss. But while Officer Gelhaus may have acted hastily in this case, there are times when police find themselves in life-or-death situations and have to act quickly in order to save their lives. Jonathan Daniel Diaz Duarte.
Stop! Stop right there!
Saturday, April 29th, 2023, Merced police deputies were checking on a report of potential gang activity in the area of the Winton Cemetery.
At approximately 1 p.m., deputies received information about potential gang members with firearms in the area of Winton Cemetery.
When they arrived, several suspects took off into a vehicle and escaped the scene in a vehicle.
Deputy Wally attempted to stop the vehicle. However, the vehicle failed to stop and began a pursuit through Winton. Deputy Lucy Lopez joined the pursuit, which lasted approximately 3.5 minutes.
The escaping vehicle eventually crashed into a parked car at the corner of Susie Street and Walnut Avenue at 1:14 p.m. Several suspects, including Jonathan Daniel Diaz Duarte, fled the scene of the crash. One of the officers, named Deputy Wally, began pursuit.
Deputy Wally gave chase as Diaz Duarte ran through the apartments near the crash scene. During the chase, Deputy Wally lost sight of him as he ran back toward Susie Street, but could see that he was carrying what looked like an AR-15 rifle.
It was then that Deputy Wally reported that the suspect was carrying a weapon, and one that can kill a lot of people.
Mercer at 5-1, we have 2 leg girl ones running with the AR-15.
The second officer on the scene was Deputy Lopez.
Deputy Lopez arrived on scene seconds after Deputy Wally. She saw Diaz Duarte running away from the apartments and headed north on Susie Street.
Deputy Lopez continued to warn the suspect, but instead of stopping, this armed criminal was intent on escape.
Stop! 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 You're getting a taser! Stop! Right there!
Then the situation took a drastic turn.
Stop right there! Stop! Drop the gun! Drop it!
That was the sound of an AR-15 rifle being fired toward Officer Lopez. The shot hit the deputy in the ear, leaving them with no other choice.
Deputy Wally heard the gunshots and got back into his patrol vehicle and rushed to the empty lot.
Deputy Lopez had returned fire, and the suspect was down. The police department later released a video to the press.
We believe in being transparent with our community, and we wanted to share the details of this incident as soon as we could. We take every use of force very seriously.
There is no doubt that this suspect was highly dangerous, and Officer Lopez had no other choice but to return fire. In this case, the gun was real, and any doubt the officers had would have evaporated the second that an AR-15 bullet hit Deputy Lopez. This case shows the split-second instincts cops must have at all times. This deputy made the right choice at the right time, but next time you decide to play with a toy gun, bear in mind, not everyone might think it's a game. Let me know what you think about these two cases, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you can keep up with every single case.